everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today I'm taking a look at Killer Frequency, and the footage you're seeing is on the PlayStation 5, although I do believe it is also available on the PlayStation 4. Now, what is Killer Frequency? Well, this has been brought to us by Team 17, and this essentially is an 80s inspired slasher movie with a little bit of a difference. And what I mean by that is they've created quite a light, humorous, horror-themed game here at Team 17. And essentially you are a radio DJ at a small local American town. I think there's a population of about 1,000. You've only been at this station for about a week, just getting used to the job. And this particular night, you get a call from the local police department basically saying that they suspect that the Whistling Man has returned, who was a famous serial killer many, many years ago in this town. And you can tell that he's on his way because essentially he whistles, so you know your time is limited and you're going to get it. So she hands over all the 911 calls to you at the radio station while she tries to go and get help, this local police officer. So you have to run your radio station, you're putting songs on, you're putting advertisements on, so on and so forth, and at the same time you are taking calls from callers. And the majority of these calls are people that wanted to contact 911. And they are contacting 911 generally because they fear for their lives because they are being chased by the Whistling Man. And it is your job to try and come up with strategies with these callers in order to keep them alive. So there's some light puzzle solving here. Now, not the traditional puzzle solving that you might expect. This is more... there will be things left around the radio station. For example, there is like a fraternity who have been ordering takeout all night, and one of the callers kind of lives near to this fraternity. So you have to find out which of these local takeaways this fraternity has been ringing to get deliveries all night. So you have to go around your station, look for clues on the local takeaways, find a stash of them, and then start ringing them up. And when you ring them up, the one that you suspect is the right one, you ring them up, and you order something for this fraternity, and you ask them to put a note in saying ring the radio station. And then when they ring the radio station, you have to kind of talk them through to go and help this person that is in danger from the Whistling Man. That's just one example. There are numerous examples of people ringing up asking for your help. There's someone who is being chased by the Whistling Man through like a maze, so you've got to find information on the maze and then talk them through where to go before they get, slashed to pieces by the Whistling Man. There's another one that's in like some offices, and you've got to kind of talk them through and try and trick the Whistling Man to go into certain rooms, so on and so forth. And you've got to try and keep people alive. Now, that might sound fairly simple. It isn't, trust me, because I've not been doing particularly well on this game. I think the majority of the people after my playthrough, and it's about 5 or 6 hours to get through this game. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I think that's fair to say. It's quite a nice, tight, fun little game, this. I'm not generally a fan of like puzzle type games, but this doesn't feel like a puzzle game. It's got this real fun retro look to it because it's set in the 80s. So you've got like tape decks and all this kind of stuff. It feels very retro. It sounds very retro. It's got like a Stranger Things inspired track to go along with it. And in actual fact, for a game like this that is quite light in its approach to horror, it does actually build some pretty decent tension here. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat for the most part. And while, again, I'm not what you would describe as a real fan of horror games, I love horror movies. I'm not a big fan of horror games. I don't really know why. I think with horror games, it feels like you're actually in the game sort of thing sometimes, and sometimes I just find it a bit too much. But this game, for those of you out there not really fan of horror games or horror movies, and you immediately might think you're put off by this would be a really good entry game for you guys to get into, like what you could say is a horror game. This is a very, very light touch horror game. It's not jam packed full of jump scares or anything like cheap jump scares. Well, there are some in here. It's not littered with them. For the most part, it's you kind of investigating your local DJ officers, looking for clues, going on the air, talking to callers, talking to your producer, because there's two of you in this radio station. There's yourself and Peggy, your producer, and most of the conversations are between you and Peggy. But a big chunk of this game is you literally talking to callers, and trying to save their lives by giving them the correct instructions. It does seem tonally a little bit odd sometimes, because you could be on the call with someone trying to save their life, and this is literally going out to the public, and then you might give them the wrong advice and they get killed by the whistling man, and then you literally put the next track on and then get on with things. It seems a bit tonally odd to me, but the whole game is really, it doesn't take itself particularly serious. There is some light comedy here in some of the things that he says, this DJ, or some of the choices, because you do have dialogue choices that you can make. You can choose like what you would think is the most appropriate one. You can choose quite a cruel response, you can choose a comedic response. So it does give you options here in regards to different dialogues to choose. So it does feel like you're kind of in control of your own story. Now, I haven't played this twice, and I haven't tried different tactics yet in regards to trying to save the people that essentially got killed, because it did seem quite harsh on a couple of the calls that I had. It seemed to me like I had given the correct instructions, but they died anyway, so I wasn't 100% sure what I did wrong. An example of that was there was somebody I was trying to save in these offices, and I was sure that I gave them the right instructions, and it kind of gives you like a time limit to give your response. So I put the response in that was the right response in the right amount of time, and this person still died. So it did seem like it didn't always make sense as to why characters died, but I've yet to replay it and try different things. It could just be me crap at saving people. So this isn't an expensive game. I paid $15.99 for this. I think it's $19.99, but if you're a PlayStation Plus member, it's $15.99. It's a fun little game. I'm actually really, really enjoying it. I'm going to replay it and see if I can do better. So I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back, of course, with plenty more reviews on the channel very, very soon.